seated. So welcome, each and every one of you, to Glastonbury Town Hall. We're here to pay tribute to Elsa Malpas, to honour and to celebrate her life and her work. Elsa passed into spirit on the 18th of November. Her death, her passing, has moved us all to gather here with her mortal body, one last time. We're here to support Howard and Elsa's family and Howard's family, and we're all here to support each other. We're here the seen and the unseen. We're here in a full room to say our goodbyes, to tell tales of Elsa, to laugh, perhaps to cry, to sing, to enjoy music that Elsa loved, to be grateful of the part that she played in all our lives. And as we come together in ritual, we come to let her earthly body go. We've come so that we can acknowledge that her earthly body goes back to the elements. We may have gathered from different traditions or of no tradition, from different pathways, from different beliefs and politics, but we're united here in circle, which of course was how Elsa would have liked it. So I now invite Morgana West, the keeper of the Glastonbury Unity Candle, to present and light the Unity flame, after which the directions will be opened by Rob Blake, and then Howard will play our first musical tribute to Elsa, Woman's Mountain.
Forgive me for having my script. I knew emotion would get in the way. So, manifested in 2010, the Glastonbury Unity Candle goes around all the different faiths, civic events, private events, and it shines its light there, reminding us that we're always part of a wider community. Each host lights the candle in whatever way best suits them, bringing the diversity of Glastonbury to the one place. Only this morning it was at the church and the cutting of the Holy Thorn, where the vicar, the mayor and the eldest child of St John's School cut a piece of the Holy Thorn, which then gets sent to the Queen and it rests on her breakfast table there. It sits on the town council table and it comes to funerals, birthday parties. It's about celebrating life, it's about celebrating community. When we see the flame burning, the flame can serve as a reminder that together our mutual learning and wisdom can bring about healing, understanding and a strong community. Even though the physical body of the container may change, it's the light that shines from it that catches our gaze and sparks our memory. And today I am deeply honoured to light the Glastonbury Unity Candle to remind us all that Elsa's inner light still shines very brightly.
Thank you, Morgana. Now Rob will open the directions for us.
Thank you. So if it's all right with everyone, we're going to follow in the directions to open this space. I'm inviting us to all do it together as I invite. So if you've got drums and rattles, as appropriate when I start calling in, please join in. What I'd like to say is that we mimic like we've never meant it before. This is for Elsa. Okay? So we're going to honour Elsa in every element, in every direction, and we're asking for blessings for her. So, in this system, we start with, as it were, the tree of life. So if you imagine, I know for many of you you know this very well, but for others, you can imagine this beautiful cosmic tree of life. So we're going to call it the upper worlds, which are like the branches, the lower worlds, which are like the roots going deep beneath into the earth, and then calling to the middle worlds, which is like the strong trunk in the middle between the two. And then we'll be calling in the directions, the cardinal points, which each have an element associated with them. So we're using the system that, as we know, Elsa lived and breathed. She lived her life by these shamanic principles. Some of you may use a different set, different directions for the elements, but if you can just bear with us in this time, because this is for Elsa. So, what I suggest, if we can just connect with our hearts. And we're calling in for blessings for Elsa, to honour Elsa. So first off, call into the upper worlds. Great Heavenly Father, the angelic realm, the etheric realm, calling to our own spirit guides to join us and help us to come together. So please join me in calling to the blessings of the upper world. To the lower worlds, great earthly mother, that which is below. In particular, here, we call to the blessings of our animals, our spirit animals, to be with us and bless Elsa today. So please, you call to the lower world. That which goes out from here, the middle worlds, and also the fae, the fairy folk, which Elsa has such a strong connection with. So I invite us now to call to the middle worlds, the blessings of the middle worlds. Lower and middle worlds. And now, in this system, we'll go to the cardinal points. In this particular room, this direction is south, and I'll be starting in the south. And we'll go around the elements, around the directions, and we'll end in silence in the centre with this beautiful unity candle at the centre. So first off, we'll be calling to the direction of the south. And in this system, the element is water. And we have here this beautiful bowl, which has got chalice well water in it, and a sacred crystal to represent the waters. So we pour into the waters, the magic, the sacred waters, the flow, bringing flowingness to Elsa on her path, called for the cleansing of the waters, and honour the emotions in the element of water. We welcome tears. We are grieving. If we have tears, let them flow. But also, please know that they will be coming tears of joy, as throughout the day we remember and honour Elsa. May we honour the strong heart of Elsa and her emotions. Invite you how you'd like to join with Elsa in the waters, the element of waters. We also honour that in this life she was Pisces, a Piscean, water sign herself. So if we will, please join me in calling the direction of the south and the waters. Here today, we have these two sacred stones to represent the earth, and also there's a masculine and a feminine, so it's the yin and the yang. So this is to honour the earth here today for Elsa. So in this system, the element of earth represents our physical life, the structure, the forms. So we're remembering, honouring and thanking Elsa for this phenomenal earthly life. All her achievements, all she's done in this earthly life, all the workshops, all the healings, all the organisations she was pivotal in. And we also thank the physical body, knowing how she's released from. So, if you will, would you join me in whichever way suits you? We call the rest and the elements of earth. We do this with blessings for Elsa and to honour Elsa and to thank clarity of thought, clarity of communication, and particularly to honour the wisdom, Elsa's wisdom in the north and the air. And we also call to the sacred winds, to lift her wings so she may now fly free from the physical body in her new state of being. So we might just for a moment want to breathe together, honouring the air, breath of life. And how, breathing in the inspiration, how Elsa has inspired us in her amazing life and will continue to inspire us in her new state of being. And for the north, to represent air, we have two eagle feathers, bringing Elsa flight. So if you will, maybe call the north, the element of air, centred element of air. turn around the wheel, we may now give our attention to the east direction. And in this system, it's the element of fire. And today we have this lantern to represent the fire. So the fire is the spirit within us, and what a spirit of Elsa, who still shines brightly like the sun. So we call to the fires to light her way and to honour her, that spirit, that fire within. We also call to an honour and thank the sacred transformation of fire, the sacred alchemy, the solar energies, and all the beings of fire. And we pray for purification and transformation that later today, dear Elsa's physical body pass through the flames and roots. So please join me now, and let's really connect with our hearts, call in the peace and fire. May we just honour Elsa with blessings in the sacred cycles of life, the sacred cycles of creation. So in the East, may we remember and honour and bless Elsa at the dawn of the day and the beautiful season of the spring. And may we honour, remember and bless Elsa at the noon of the day, the fullness of the day, and the beautiful season of summer. May we honour, remember and bless Elsa at the sunset, at the end of the day, and in the season of autumn. And may we bless and remember Elsa at the night time, in the dazzling darkness, and the season of winter, our whole. So please now invite us in silence now, if we will join together in the centre of this beautiful and amazing unity candle, so that we can be as one together with all that is, and most importantly with Elsa, are joining together in silence. And thank you for joining and calling in the directions. So I'll leave us to sit in silence at the centre.
So now Howard is going to play a piece of music for Elsa. It's called Woman's Mountain. All the music we're going to hear today is particularly special to Elsa. Thank you, Howard. That was beautiful.
All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
I've been asked to say a few words for Elsa's family. Elsa Hilda Dickens was born, and I'm not going to tell you when she was born because she was quite coy about her age. It wasn't exactly a secret, but I will just respect that. But suffice to say, she was an elder, a real one. She was born and brought up in Bromley in Kent. She had an older brother, Derek, and a much younger brother, Alan, who was born when she was in her teens. Alan says of his big sister, "I know that Elsa looked after me. Once I had some lovely pictures of her holding me on her knee when I was a baby, but I can't find them. But I know she looked after me, and she was a really good big sister to me when I was small." Howard says of Elsa that she spoke of having quite a tough childhood. Of course, it was a really tough era for most people then. Elsa's first abiding memories, and I heard her tell these stories several times, were of the devastating impact of the war. It affected Elsa personally. She told of the dreadful day when, swinging on her front gate at home, watching her friend walk down the road, a Stuka dive bomber swooped down, flying low enough over the road for Elsa to see the pilot's face as he passed. He shot and killed her friend, right in front of her. She told of the day when she and her family had to eat her pet bunny, Snowy, because other fresh food was scarce. Pressure on families were great. Despite all this, the young Elsa was physically very active and very connected with her body and her physical coordination. If you imagine standing in front of a wall and juggling balls against it, Elsa could juggle not one ball, not two or three, but 6 at a time against a wall. Just think of that. And then there was her big love, ballet. Elsa's ballet teacher was so impressed with her that when Elsa was around 10, 11 years of age, she applied for her to be admitted to study at Sadler's Wells, now named the Royal Ballet School. Elsa had the physique of a dancer and the blossoming skills to match. And her teacher saw that she had all the potential for a future in the world of dance. But it was not to be. Many, many people were ill at that time, and polio hit the Dickens family. Elsa, particularly, was affected very badly. She was in a coma for a long time, almost totally paralysed. She spent months on a polio ward in an iron lung, a machine which, through pressure, forced her rib and muscle action to move in a way that pulled air into her paralysed body. In a ward of 6 children, all in iron lungs, Elsa was the only one to survive. At this time, as tears fell from her eyes, Elsa's ballet teacher visited her to say that she had been awarded a scholarship to go to Sadler's Wells Ballet School. Life-changing. However, there were other paths and other plans for Elsa, who told of having her first spiritual awakening while still deeply unwell. It was a profound visitation in which she felt a woman's hand on her belly and a gentle voice telling her, "You will never be alone." Elsa's physical recovery was slow, but she, in true Elsa fashion, developed a set of isometric exercises and a program for herself to strengthen her muscles that eventually enabled her to walk a little bit with the aid of calipers. Life had indeed taken her in new directions, both physically and in an awakening, and in time, spiritually. Rolling forward through the years, Elsa left home and married Derek. They apparently lived on a farm for a while where her father-in-law worked. Alan says that visiting this farm and his older sister was glorious. It was his first experience of the countryside, and he has happy memories of Elsa, surrounded, as she was there, in nature. It was, he says, a magical time for him. Elsa and Derek had 2 daughters, and in later years, in conjunction to her work as a personnel officer in a large carpet company, Elsa developed skills as an astrologer and medium and a healer. But after parting with Derek, Elsa and Howard eventually met, and their decades of spiritual unfolding and teaching began. This, of course, is another story in which many of us here have been lucky enough to participate in and to benefit from as students and fellow teachers. Elsa's daughters have asked me to share some memories of their mum with you on their behalf. Elsa was mum to Gay and Joy, nan to Chris, Gemma, Hannah and Melissa, and grandnan to Lewis and Izzy. Mum was gentle, kind and loving. She loved people and was always accepting of everyone and never judgmental. Mum was the one that we went to if we needed anything, whether it was a chat, a shoulder to cry on, advice, a hug, or just to be able to stay out late. We remember her taking us to work with her in the school holidays. We were allowed to do whatever we liked. I detect a bit of danger here, don't you? Filing, stamping the invoices, playing on the typewriters. Mum basically allowed us to run amok. She even encouraged us to use the switchboard and answer calls. It's a bit of a shock for callers that got through as we cut quite a number off by mistake. Bit of a shock for them to be asked by a 12-year-old if they could help. We all had a lot of fun, and Mum always stayed her usual calm and unflappable self. Mum always wanted us to be happy. She supported and encouraged us to do whatever we wanted in life. But most importantly, she gave us the confidence to believe in and to be ourselves. We've asked Angie to read this poem by David Harkins, as we feel it reflects Mum's positive outlook on life. You can shed tears that she's gone, or you can smile because she lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that she has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can be full of love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she's gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what she would want. Smile. Open your eyes. Love and live on.
All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
Our next speaker is Colette Barnard, who will share some of her memories of Elsa, I think in her early days in Glastonbury. Colette.
I first met Elsa Malpas, in 1998. This was the time of Elsa and Howard's entry into Glastonbury. I met Elsa in the Isle of Avalon Foundation office. Today there are many centres in town, but back then, these few rooms in the upstairs of the Glastonbury Experience Courtyard was an important hub for the alternative community and for esoteric study in this town. I was the person sitting behind the desk when Elsa walked in. Our office had daily pilgrims. We had every type of wizard, goddess, priestess, and we had Merlins by the score. So Elsa and Howard, two shamans travelling down from London with a vision, was just standard footfall. They wanted to hire the George's Room for a shamanic dreaming journey, and they wanted to fit this event and several other dates into what seemed an extraordinary, complex and busy schedule they already had in London. Certainly, their energy was bouncy, and Elsa's smile, as you will all know, was beautiful. So who was I to say it seemed like an impossible schedule to keep? They did make it work. They filled their groups and expanded these journeying circles into other events, into weekends, and then on into shamanic practitioner trainings, the warrior with a heart. I liked working alongside Elsa. She knew what she wanted and was very clear when she wanted it different. If a sentence, a word, or a sum needed changing, Elsa was on the case, an eagle's eye for fine detail. She got involved with me, with the work in the office and the organisation, with the organisation to its very core, and she gave. She gave her time, she gave her healing, her energy, and she gave that laugh. Always clear what she was to be paid for and what she was giving freely. She seemed fearless. Out of the office and into the pub, we celebrated, and we celebrated big time, to the very edge. How did we walk home? I think sometimes Elsa needed help. But in those inebriated states, we discussed some great topics, and in those discussions, our language was often colourful. However, that was all a very long time ago. I left the Isle of Avalon Foundation office in 2002, and Elsa Malpas became the guardian and caretaker of his ethos. She was a very committed person, and thank you, Howard, for being alongside her. The Isle of Avalon Foundation and the Glastonbury Experience was originally the property of a Helena Coppion. How very synchronistic that Elsa and Howard arrived in town around the time of Helena's death in 1998, when Elsa and Howard got the call to come to Glastonbury. Elsa was always curious about Helena. Helena's vision was that of Glastonbury as a spiritual centre of research, following on from the Abbey of old with its famous library for study. In the Glastonbury Experience, the shops on the ground floor and the upper rooms would be the community, library and esoteric studies. The Isle of Avalon Foundation was originally called for a time the University of Avalon, and it had very faculties of study for one to gain a degree in the path of spiritual transformation. So Helena birthed the Glastonbury Experience to be an esoteric centre, and in doing, she gave her inheritance, her asset, and her life to this vision. Elsa Malpas honoured this gift from Helena. She respected the vision, and she held it pure in her, and thus in our consciousness, while she directed the Isle of Avalon Foundation these past 16 years. This was yet another of Elsa's gifts freely given to us. Thank you, Elsa. Aho.
All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
We've already met Morgana when she lit the candle that's keeping us unified. But now she's going to talk about her experiences with Elsa.
Creation said, I want to hide something from the humans until they're ready for it. It is the realization that they create their own reality. The eagle said, give it to me, I will take it to the moon. The Creator said, no, one day they will go there and find it. The salmon said, I will bury it at the bottom of the ocean. The Creator said, no, they will go there too. The buffalo said, I will bury it on the Great Plains. The Creator said, they will cut into the skin of Mother Earth and find it even there. Grandmother, who lives in the breast of Mother Earth and who has no physical eyes but sees with spiritual eyes, said, put it inside of them. And the Creator said, it is done. This well-known parable is attributed to the Hopi nation, and I start with it here because Elsa was one of those people who could look inside of us and see what was hidden there, and still loved us for it. Our light, our dark, and the shadows in between them, Elsa saw us. Whenever I spent time with her, I always managed to feel like the only person in the world, that I was okay just as I was, and I felt loved. And how could you not love somebody in return that helps you to feel so whole? It's a rare person indeed that can cause us to feel this way, and I know that is how many of you felt in her company. I first met her in 1999 when I moved here, so we kind of arrived at the same time. And our work has kind of run parallel within the town. Elena, who was mentioned earlier, I'm actually in her office at the moment, and we feel like that we're still continuing the work of all those people that came here before us. And she was one of those strong-minded people who knew where the heart led. And despite the challenges she faced, it was her strength and determination to see things through that inspired me. Once or twice I saw her locking horns with the individuality of self, within her own self and within the presence of others. She would be very good at scanning within for where her true soul purpose lay. And was she or they doing it for the greater good or for self? Either was okay if it was with an open heart. If the heart was open, the rest was as it should be. In Glastonbury, we often refer to the unseen Avalonians. These people who are no longer physically present in our lives, but continue to inspire and guide us. Some of us liken these folk as being the beating spiritual heart of Glastonbury, helping it to reach its full promise as a place of learning and healing, regardless of our beliefs. These guides might have moved beyond the rigours of earthly ties and beliefs, but their light and their wisdom still offers us support and direction. Elsa and I joked about them upstairs on more than one occasion. She has been such a strong link in the fabric of our town, and the legacies of her friendship and teachings will ripple onward for many a year. To her family, I offer deepest condolences on behalf of a multifaceted town. I pass on a community's love and respect for Elsa to nourish you in your loss. As I have been speaking, bowls of candles, tea lights have been passed around. I hope you've all managed to get one. If you haven't, we do have some spare. And whilst Elsa makes her final earthly journey, the Glastonbury Unity candle for a few will be in the Avalon room, where, if you wish, this is after we've escorted her up the town, we will then return to the Avalon room, where, if you wish, you can come and light your own flame from Elsa's for comfort, memory and honour, and to remind you of your own light, the one that she saw hidden inside of you. Elsa, as you journey onwards, I give thanks from our town for your illumination in our lives. And if you have indeed joined them upstairs, as I suspect it might be an option, I look forward to your continued guidance and scrutiny. Blessed be.
All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
Now, of course, Howard and Elsa have just been, as they have for so many years, engaged in teaching a new batch of students wisdom for life. And we're going to hear some words now from a current student of Howard and Elsa's, Nina Hudson.
A very wise man by the name of Darren Curtis once gave me a great piece of advice. He told me to let my audience know in advance of the trials they may face while speaking. So I ask of you, my brothers and sisters, to hold space for me should I find myself stumbling or shedding a tear. I stand before you today, humbled and honoured to be among so many of the light workers of this world. Although it is my voice you hear now, it is the collection of our voices that is important. Voices that we have all been able to find with the love, support and guidance of our beloved teachers, Howard and Elsa. And it is for them that we are all here today. To Howard, we hold you deeply in our hearts this day and in all coming days. We thank you for your love for Elsa and feel great comfort knowing that she had your hand to hold at the last when she passed from here to the stars. And like starlight, love never dies. You and Elsa have shared your love with us as a family. and through that love we shall always be bonded. Across time, across space, and through parallel dimensions, that love will continue to be the light that shines on. As a representative for Elsa's students, and in acknowledgement of the contribution she has made to our lives, we would like to take this opportunity to share our love and our thanks to her family, and know that our thoughts are with you at this difficult time. Please know that an extended spiritual family is here for you should you ever need anything. The testament to Elsa's life work is here in this room. It's in all the outpouring of love, respect, and appreciation found in the messages on Facebook. And it's in the tribute of those unable to join us today, but who send forth their spirit to be with us. Elsa was known and felt by many as a true inspiration. She was a mother, teacher, guide, counselor, healer, shaman, fairy queen, elder, and as Mark would have you believe, a witch. Elsa was everything, and she was also nothing. Elsa achieved eminence in her field because she was able to shine such a light, enlightening and transforming the lives of so many people, and yet had the grace and humility to not want the spotlight. She was a true luminary of our time, a sacred hollow bone. Elsa worked through love, and her love was rare and beautiful. It was the way love should be. It was transcendental, transformative, and timeless. As her students, past, present, and future, Elsa shared with us her wisdom, her knowledge, and her experiences to teach us the sacred art of shamanism. But her greatest teachings were to teach us about ourselves. And she did this by loving us. Her love didn't come with conditions, stipulations, or an agenda. It was a love that was compassionate and empathetic, one that allowed room for anger, grief, and pain to be expressed and released in a safe and supportive space, to transcend the limitations of our past and be reborn into all the possibilities of living a new life as our beautiful, authentic selves. It was a love that cared what became of you and honored the sovereignty of each and every soul. It is a privilege and a blessing to be one of Elsa's students. Not only was she a wonderful teacher, she was also a facilitator of powerful healing. She dedicated much of her time, her energy, and her love to helping others. Elsa possessed great gifts, and she shared them generously with others. The greatest gift she gave us all was to love us unconditionally and to encourage us to do the same for ourselves and acknowledge our own ancient divinity. Through healing ourselves and accepting our own divine nature, we in turn can help to heal and love others unconditionally. This world was not a place of sorrow for Elsa, although she faced many trials. She rose to every challenge with grace and serenity, knowing that the lessons in life are all just experiences that our souls require to learn from, the teachings of which will illuminate the path to our own ascensions. Elsa was magnificently courageous, a true warrior of the heart. In honor of Elsa, we must all now be warriors in our own hearts and stand clearly and fearlessly for that which our hearts and souls hold dear. Elsa has again led the way for us, ascending first, to be our greatest ally in spirit, to work with us and to prepare the way. We must hold tight together, one heart and one consciousness. For Elsa's love knew that the other is also oneself, because we are all and ever shall be as one, interconnected and whole, with one another and with nature. A beautiful vision appeared to me of Elsa as a tree in the spirit realm. In many ancient traditions, the tree is revered and thought to be at the center of all that occurs. It encompasses all realms of existence and binds them together. A cosmic connection telling ancient stories of shared roots with links to the old and to the new. It is the channel and conduit between the will of the divine world and the world in which we live, with roots deeply connected into the earth and branches that reach up to the sky into the worlds above. The concept then of interdimensional connectedness is also brought to us by the tree of life. Elsa is our spiritual tree of life, of knowledge, of wisdom, and of love. She is the heart center and the soul of our tribe. She is our provider, breathing life into our very being, our lungs and our hearts, and inspiring us. She is our shelter from the storms of life, a refuge from the processes of time and mortality, for she herself is immortal. I'm going to read just a short bit of some words of the written using the combined words of an unknown author and of Mary Fry. Unable to perceive the shape of you. I find you all around me. You are the thousand winds that blow, the diamond glints on fresh fallen snow. You are the glimmering sunlight on ripened grain and the gentle autumn's rain. When we awaken in the morning's hush, you are the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight and the soft stars that shine at night. Your presence fills my heart with your love. You've humbled my soul, for you are everywhere and are everything. May the light, the life, and ever-flowing beautiful love of Elsa Malpas forever radiate and shine bright over this world. Let us remember her incredible dancing spirit, her glorious smile that could light up an entire hall, and her wonderful sense of humor that laughed us out of many a dark place and that filled our souls with joy. May we carry her in our hearts until we too journey to the stars and are reunited once again. With love and blessings now and always. Aho.
Life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
As you just heard from Nina's words, Elsa was very much a teacher, elder, and mentor to many of us. And now one of Elsa's fellow elders from the Shamanic community and longtime friend, Leo Rutherford, will speak to us.
All of life is just a narrow bridge. We come here for this short life, and early on it seems as if we're going to go on forever, doesn't it? But then we get older, and we realise how short it is. We come from spirit, and we go back to spirit. Our body comes from the earth, but through our mother, human mother and father, but our spirit comes from the spirit place. So we come together to celebrate a wonderful life, a hard life, a life in a very difficult body vehicle that she managed to keep going for a very long time, and who has been a great friend and mentor and teacher and guide to so many people. And so it is fitting that we shed tears, but it's good to remember we shed the tears for ourselves, for our loss. We don't need to shed tears for Elsa. She's free of that body vehicle. She's moved on. Experiments have shown that when we die, 21 grams goes with us. It's easy to die with 21 grams. I met Elsa through Howard. Years ago, in the early 90s, I went to a theatre performance in Keepers Fulham, and the education of Little Tree. Howard was part of the theatre company for the Uganda. He was responsible for lights, and the spirit of Coyote played some tricks with the lights, which resulted in Howard and I meeting. And from that, Howard and Elsa came to some events I did, including a New Year at Brimstone Manor, and then around about mid-90s they came on the first Shamanic practitioner course that I did alongside my then colleague Howard Shamanic. And after that they were able to set up their own practice, which has flourished so beautifully. I want to be clear, all I'm saying is they came to a course I didn't. All I taught them was some methods, some tools, but they had the magic. They have the magic. Elsa has, as we know, the sight and the smile, spark. And Howard has that, well, Howard has all the wonderful things that Howard has, and Howard has given, as you know. Howard has given in beauty. So, last year, when Howard was set up here in Glastonbury, I was very pleased to be able to come and offer the educational workshop. And then last year, we did, between the three of us, a year. And we were all set to continue that in next year. And of course, sadly, she's not with us anymore. And so we have to, well, Howard and I have to make it up between us. But we call the spirit of Elsa. And so, here we are to celebrate all that she gave, all that she did, all that she stands. So I want to invite everybody, and musicians, to join and then sing to her. Sing to her. And you all know this, and if you don't, you know it. 2 minutes. Earth, my body. Water, my blood. Air, my breath. And my pleasure. Fire, the spirit. Earth, my body. Water, my blood. Air, my breath. And my spirit. Earth, my body. Water, my blood.
Yeah. She was a mean administrator, that's for sure. I first met Elsa in Canada, actually, and we were at someone's house and we were giving her a lift to the conference venue. And Mark was there as well, and he was calling her a witch and having this kind of fight with each other, and I was thinking, this poor little old lady. And then I got to know Elsa and realised that she gave as good as she got, which was one of the things I loved about her and made working with her and doing administration work a lot of fun. As Ange said, I kind of, on the inside in terms of the stuff that you don't really see, but the essential things of administration and business. And Elsa's, as you've heard, Elsa's kind of life expanded over doing the point where her and Howard started doing residential courses 3 to 4 times a year for 3 to 4 days at a time. The annual Shamanic gathering, which first was actually in this building in 2005. It was a one-day event and it was free. It's now kind of growing and growing. Then there's always the weekend workshops. Then there's the Avalon Community Centre, which the two of them run, and the Isle of Avalon Foundation. Now, all of this was made possible by Elsa, basically. We were all on the side, looking glamorous, but actually it was Elsa that was doing everything. Her admin skills were phenomenal. Her attention to detail was phenomenal. At any point, I could ask her, like you'd be in the pub, anywhere, I could ask her how much was in the bank account, and she could tell me exactly what was there. And she had her finger on everything. So if you think about residential bookings, residential courses with booking people, getting people's names right, then you suddenly find they've changed their name to a shamanic name. You then get all the diets, I can't sleep there, I can't face that direction. I've got all the stuff that goes with conferences that I'm sure we're all probably guilty of doing. I've suddenly become like vegan or whatever, but I haven't paid for vegan and I haven't done this and I haven't done that. So she managed all of that stuff and she managed it all in her head. And on top of that, she managed all our emotional needs. So all our breakdowns, moments when me included, messaged her and said, I can't cope, and she'd just sit with it and, okay, Elsa. So she did all that. With the conferences, I would turn up and I would help on the front desk, and it looked like we knew what we were doing, but I could only do it because of the organisation that Elsa had done beforehand. She had in her head pretty much 70 to 100 people's arrangements for the gathering. Someone would turn up and say, hi, I'm whatever, Joe, and she'd say, oh yes, you owe £15 or you owe £300 and you're this, you've got a special diet, haven't you? So her memory and her meticulous detail was phenomenal, which also meant that we could never get away with anything. But that was also the wonderful thing, as people have said, you couldn't get away with anything, but she also accepted you as you were, and she challenged you and made sure that you kind of did the best thing that you could do, really. Also, with the conference is then managing the booking at the locations, making the arrangements, keeping where you're staying happy. The detail was phenomenal. So it was, as Leo referred to, with the physicality of her body. Just imagine being that person that you cannot physically go anywhere yourself. She relied on Howard to take her places. So to be able to do the administration with her computer and reach everybody was a massive sense of freedom, of being in control of her communication with all of you, and it allowed her to control something in her life. Now, Elsa did like her control on another level, and she had a very high standard to what she would expect of how we behaved, how we made sure we paid on time. But because, and that was really an essential thing to make sure it ran well. But because of that, it meant that we were all safe, that we knew what our boundaries were, and it gave us a standard that we now, well, I hope, I try to at least adhere to, of maintaining that standard. one year at a conference, Howard got up and said, does anybody know, or has anybody ever set up a charity or got any experience of kind of fundraising? And at that point, I had done a little bit of work, so I hesitantly kind of thinking, what am I getting myself into? And I said, well, I've got a bit of experience. And as it turned out, we ended up setting up 2 community interest companies. One is the Avalon Community Centre Community Interest Company, and the other is the UK Shamanic Gathering, CIC. Elsa always said that she wanted these set up so that the young ones could carry it through. I was quite pleased to consider to be called a young one, which kind of wasn't hard in Elsa's eyes, given her secret age. So we set about setting up these CICs, which then meant that we would manage these organisations to a standard that was legally, we had legal responsibilities, and meetings were run in a proper sense with minutes and agendas and articles of association and methods by which we have to actually run these organisations. And it made our accountability much easier with fundraising. So I could, like I said, say to Elsa how much we got in the bank account, what do we need to raise, and we could try and go out and do it. So her attention to detail made life much easier. She also liked to be incredibly busy. On the one hand, she'd sort of complain a bit and say how she's really busy, but I think she secretly enjoyed it. Not too long ago with Avalon Centre, we were looking at trying to free her load a bit because she was really busy, and trying to see whether we could have some kind of automated system that meant that people could go online and see if the centre was booked without having to ring up, and then she wouldn't have to respond and return calls. And I did all this research to find all this stuff. And when it came to the crunch, she wouldn't let us do it because she wanted to talk to people. And I said to her, is that hassle, or do you really want to talk? She said, no, I like the talking, I want to talk to people. So we left it as it is, and allowed her to do her job very well in the way that she does. The last thing I wanted to say was that Elsa was very good at making you look at the things that you don't necessarily want to look at yourself, and was very good at, particularly for me, of helping me be brave and step forward and do some things. So what I'd like to say is that if you're querying something, or you're wanting a second career change or something like that you're not quite brave enough to do, just remember that Elsa started doing these residential courses when she was 60. And look at all of us here today, other than her family, who've obviously known her longer. But if you're ever doubting, just keep that in your mind, that life is short, but it's also what you make it. And thank you to Elsa and to her family, that we're a testament to all of that. So thank you.
Just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge. All of life is just a narrow bridge, just a narrow bridge.
Enough of words. We've heard lots. So let's now enjoy some of Elsa's favourite music, played in tribute to her by Avalon Folk, a band which Howard enjoys being a part of, and who've been such a source of friendship and support to him since Elsa's passing. thank you all. That was wonderful. I don't know about you, but I spent a lot of time during that beautiful music sitting with my eyes closed and just imagining Elsa's face as she would have been had she been listening here with us. And I know that all of us will have had different thoughts of Elsa during this afternoon. We all knew different aspects of her diamond character. And those thoughts are so precious and important. Thoughts, Elsa taught us, have a power of their own. And as we just sit mindfully, just for a little while, I'd ask you to offer those thoughts up into the ether. If you're a praying person, give thanks for Elsa's life. If you just like the silence, that's fine. Please think of Elsa and what she meant to you. There are people all over the world at the moment thinking of Elsa. On different continents, there are candles lit. There are people in vigil. For our amazing teacher, wonderful soul, that fierce warrior in the heart, who allowed us all the space and respect to find our own warriors, our inner selves. Many people in their tributes online have said, Elsa changed my life. And it's already been said that we have a responsibility if we have been changed in any way through knowing Elsa. And that's her challenge. We're all part of her legacy. But as always, Elsa used the word allow. We're allowed to respond, and we're allowed not to. So it's time for us to say our farewells to Elsa. She was a light worker in her spiritual work. We've heard about how she taught about light and love, and about her great gift of holding that light in balance with the darkness, with the pain, and with loss, and meeting those with deep gratitude without running from them. Elsa taught the ultimate light that she called the Christ consciousness. And she taught and lived the path of the Fae, of the elemental and powerful natural beings. To her, there was absolutely no conflict. She was a mystic, a path that at its very core unifies and transcends all religions, all pathways. She was in many ways a blessed being. She was a bridge between worlds and a bridge between traditions. And it takes a person of extraordinary strength and courage to maintain those links and to be able to be that kind of bridge. Please rise as you're able. Elsa has left the confines of her body. We've said our goodbyes. We've sung her praises. We've talked of her love towards us and our love towards her. And we commend her now to that great path of light. It's time for us to let Elsa go. Please be seated. In a while, I will accompany Howard and Elsa's family and a small group of people that represent the rest of us. We go with Elsa's coffin to the crematorium, and there we'll commit Elsa to the universal source of light and love, and place her earthly remains safely into the bosom of Grandfather Fire. So Elsa, it's time for each of us to let you go from here, from this gathering. And our love goes with you. I call Morgana now to take the Glastonbury Unity Candle on our behalf. As she said, it will go on to the Avalon Room, where vigil will be kept.
These are candles made with the same kind of wax as the candle.
Listen to your heart, listen to your heart, let love guide you, let love guide you. Listen to your heart, listen to your heart, let love guide you, let love guide you. Listen to your heart, listen to your heart, let listen to your heart, listen to your heart, let love guide you, let love fear will be gone when we reach the shores of you'll be greeted there by maidens fair with eyes of the royal sea. In the garden they will braid your hair with violets and rosemary. And there we'll stand, looking out upon the world that we've known. All fear will be gone when we reach the shores of Avalon. When we reach the